With AT&T, take your U.S. plan to Mexico at no extra charge. When you choose an eligible plan, place calls, send text, and enjoy your plan data in Mexico like in the U.S. It's that easy. AT&T, mobilizing your world. Subject to plan rates, terms, international fees, overage charges, or data speeds. Restrictions apply. See store for plan details.
Blog Talk Radio.
It's here.
Hello?
Have you checked the children?
They're all hot, don't.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
I'm afraid!
Don't be afraid!
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Gingy. Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. Gentlemen, I am pain.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
Have you checked the children?
Have you checked the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play? I think he's in trouble.
Julie, this guy, if he can't take a joke, he stinks.
There's no more room in hell. The dead will walk here.
Look, just a flesh wound.
Hey, Flesh Wound Radio freaks. I am Daniel Shine, joined as always by Todd Loya. How goes it, Todd?
I'm doing well this week. How about you?
I am doing fantastic, ready for a brand new edition of Horror Society Presents Flesh Wound Radio. Tonight, I know I say this every week, but tonight in particular, I think we've got an interesting mix of reviews. Good interesting, bad interesting. You'll have to tune in, maybe a little bit of both, but yeah, not a standard week actually. We kind of have a interesting blend this week, so I am excited. Todd, how was your weekend? Well, actually, I guess we're on Thursday. Weekend's long past, but
I know. I'm already planning this one at this point. Yeah, from what I remember, it was good.
That's cool. Yeah, I had a great day, actually. Actually, something particularly fantastic, and we're not even at the news yet, but I'm just so excited I have to bring this up, because I truly believe that this could potentially be the horror release of 2015, and that is, I think Todd already knows what this one is, but College Co-eds versus Zombie Housewives. This is a film that's going to be coming out March 24th, and of course I pre-ordered it immediately. It's only $10, so at the moment. And efforts to develop a new sexual enhancement formula go terribly wrong when the beautiful test subjects lapse into a trance-like state. With the zombie housewives wandering the neighborhood, no one is safe until a trio of college cheerleaders rush in to save the day in this outrageous erotic comedy from the creator of Bikini Avengers. Bikini Avengers is also up for pre-order, I believe. So yes, this one features the thespian and lesbian, perhaps, talents of Mary Carey and Christine Nugent. So, yeah, that one's going to be good. Todd, you got it pre-ordered too, I assume.
I do, and here's the other thing I totally forgot about. This studio, I've actually seen some of their other work. The Bikini Bowling Bash, I want to say this. They tend to pop up on Cinemax, of all networks, right before their DVD debuts. So we made an early review on that one, thanks to Cinemax. So
Yeah, they do that a lot. I think like they'll have like a DVD version, Harlots of the Caribbean, and I think it's like Bikini Pirates or something on Cinemax. So, yeah, you probably might see this under a different title potentially, but
I've noticed the batch of the last ones, they've been, well, at least with the Bikini Bowling one, also starring Mary Carey. That one was the same one. So I don't know how they're doing it now, but I am familiar with a couple of their films.
More than a couple for me, and I suspect for you too. But yeah, I don't know. Mary Carey, though, wow, I don't know if she needs much makeup to play the zombie anymore. But you know, we'll see.
She is definitely not the same woman who starred in the classic film Pervert.
Yes, Pervert's great.
I love Pervert.
Different. He's got a nice body. Yeah, I love Pervert too. I don't know. I guess it just spoke to me. But yeah, I mean, this is coming from a guy who wrote the script for MILFs versus Zombies. So, you know, obviously, I'm going to be drawn to this type of flick. So, I don't know. I don't know that they'll have as much nudity as my movie, though, but we'll see. Actually, they probably will in this one, I'm thinking. We may not outdo them there, but we try. But anyways, Todd, you have some release date news for our listeners.
I do. I actually have a few. I guess we'll start off with the Andy Milligan Grindhouse Experience triple feature, which features The Ghastly Ones, Guru the Mad Monk, and Body Beneath, which will street on March 24th from Bayview Entertainment. And I don't know, is Milligan having somewhat of a comeback this year with this and the 3-code red Blu-rays?
He seems to be. There seems to be a renewed interest in his work. I mean, he's another filmmaker. As bad as his films are, according to the reputation, they are interesting. And Guru the Mad Monk actually went out of print sometime in the last year or two and was quite expensive. So that's definitely a triple feature worth picking up. I actually pre-ordered that one as well. I think it's like, what, $13 right now or something like that?
Yeah, it's $13.99, so it's definitely reasonable. So, yeah, I did notice that the Guru prices have since dropped to a more reasonable $25.
Yes, probably a wise move, but they were $100 not too long ago. So yes, that one, they ruined some scalpers' days when they announced
good
that.
For them. Well, here's one that.
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Dan. Oh no,
No.
I was just gonna say. No, I got thrown off. Well, I'll just skip to the not really. Well, yes, release date news, but it's more of a release date change. And Scream Factory let the Dog Soldiers update out today with their message, and I'm just going to read this one verbatim. We regret to inform you that we are moving the release date for Dog Soldiers again, but hopefully for good reason. The new official street date is now 6/23/15. The film's director, Neil Marshall, has recently found potential better film elements for us to work with so that we can create a new HD transfer. In order for us to do this, we need more time, and which is why a delay was prompted. We were really debating postponing this underrated gem again, but we know many of you have requested a new transfer, better than the previous Blu-ray release, and we want to exhaust every avenue to bring you one. Once we look at the elements, we'll keep you posted on the status of it. We hope you understand our position on this, and we appreciate your patience. So, well, that's actually really great news, because if you've seen that old Blu-ray, it was not it was shit. We'll just say that. It wasn't.
Yeah,
good.
it was probably. I mean, that was a fairly early Blu-ray release, and I know a lot of people were really pissed about it. Because it was an early and cheap Blu-ray release, and everybody was just like, God damn, this is like no better than the DVD. So if Scream Factory was even entertaining putting something out that was on that level, I'm glad they're waiting.
Yeah. And from the comments on after their announcement, it seems like everyone is very happy of the delay for a quality version, because I mean that's a big deal on that one, because that was not a transfer. That would have been quite a few complaints about that one. All right, I guess this is also another update, kind of release day thing. Although we again don't have a firm release date, we just kind of know going in, and that is of course my and Dan's highly anticipated Blu-ray release of Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers that we've been probably refreshing our Amazon tabs hourly to make sure we don't miss this one. But Fred posted on his official page just today that he has checked the tracking info and is informed that the Blu-rays will be delivered to Amazon for fulfillment on Friday afternoon. So hopefully they can be purchased starting Friday evening or Saturday, depending on how things work out at Amazon. And they shipped 300 units to Amazon to test the waters. It's a 1,000-unit run for. I know we were trying to figure it out last week, but they did state that. So we can at least stop refreshing our browsers till tomorrow. Yeah.
I think at that number, I don't think you have to worry about them selling out. I didn't realize, I guess they're all going to be the signature edition, correct?
Yeah.
At least. Okay, so, yeah, I wouldn't worry too much, but nonetheless, I will still probably pre-order that thing pretty quick.
Yeah. Yes, that is definitely one we are going to be on top of. And then another one, release news out of Severn Films, and through their Intervision division, is, well, what's wrong with more Bruno Mattei? So they announced they will be releasing next month Bruno Mattei's deranged, gore-drenched swan songs, Zombies the Beginning and Island of the Living Dead, for their first ever U.S. releases. Both will have exclusive new producer, writer, and featurettes. So that's good news. Even having seen them both, they're not as well. If there is best work, I don't even know how to go with that one. They're definitely new Bruno Mattei films, which I still enjoy either way. So I'm looking forward to picking those up. And I'm sure you are.
I've always said, I mean, say what you will about Bruno Mattei, I don't know that he's really done anything that I haven't been entertained by. So, so I think that's good news.
Yeah, and I think these two are better than the last two Matteis that came out that he did right before these two. I tend to think these are, Mattei doing zombies, how bad can it be?
Well, always entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I think for release news, we do have one more. Although we did cover the Beyond already, but there's a little bit more information.
Specs. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. I did go over the specs a few weeks ago, and yeah, it's pretty much the same specs. I mean, nothing new has been added really, but just in case you guys missed it, it's been a while because they pretty much had the specs when it was first announced. And that is for, Grindhouse Releasing is finally delivering Lucio Fulci's best film, or one of his best films, The Beyond, to Blu-ray February 10th. I believe if you lock it on Amazon right now, it's $24.95, right around there, which is pretty decent, considering it is, to quote, a super deluxe 3-disc collector's edition with 2 Blu-rays and a CD, spectacular high-definition digital transfer of the original uncensored director's cut, breathtaking 5.1 DTS HD Master audio, surround sound remix by Academy Award winner Paul Audison, provocative commentary by stars Katrina McCall and Cheers superstar David Warbeck, optional Italian language soundtrack, and original mono mix. New in-depth interviews with stars Katerina McCall, Cinzina Morelli, and Giovanni
Unreal, I don't know.
Yeah. U.S. production manager Larry Ray, makeup artist Giovanni Di Rossi, and all these Italian names are really... And a bunch of other Italians who worked on the films. Rare archival interviews with the director and David Warbeck, Lost German pre-credit sequence in full color, extensive still galleries, and theatrical trailers, liner notes, bonus CD, and a killing glow-in-the-dark slipcover limited to the first 5,000 copies. Yeah, so it seems like it's going to be a Z version now. I mean, say what you want about the Arrow released a decent one, but I think this is the one that. Oh, and speaking of Arrow, which we didn't really talk about there, they did announce their first 3 U.S. titles, and I know that they're up for pre-order in some places, not yet Amazon, but I know Mark of the Devil is going to be one of their first U.S. titles.
Mark of the Devil is up. I pre-ordered that.
Okay. Do you know the other 2 titles offhand? I know I'm trying not to throw you under the bus. But
not off the top of my head. I do have Mark of the Devil is the only one I have pre-ordered on Amazon.
Yeah, but that was me too. That was the one horror one that really stood out. That I figured, we should mention because we didn't actually go over that before, but might as well. And there was one other piece of news release that I didn't mention. Well, it's not really release news because we've talked about, Escape from New York is coming from Street Factory, and then it's Street 421. But the little bit of news that came out, because we don't really have specs yet, is that it is going to be a 2-disc Blu-ray set, and that is because they plan on packing the extras, so they're splitting it up into two Blu-rays, and this is the first time I can think of them doing that. So that's actually really a bit of cool news. Although extra-wise, it's going to be interesting to see how they top it, because I remember the MGM DVD being pretty stacked.
Mhm. Yeah, but nonetheless, it's essential. It's Escape from New York, so.
Oh yes, no. I either way, I'm definitely. I mean, as long as they have. See, honestly, with this one, this is when most people said that as long as they put the Blu-ray out with the DVD extras, they'd be happy, because that MGM just drove people insane because they had the extras and we're not putting them on there. And then to make matters worse, they showed in that bonus DVD, it came with the DVD, but they made sure to put in that first one that had nothing on it. So that was fun.
Yeah, I think Scream Factory, probably any moment, they should have the next round of pre-orders up on Amazon. Ghoulies, the Carrie 2-pack, and Deep in the Woods, I believe, one of the new modern titles that they have out. So I'm excited for those.
Class of '84 is another one.
Yeah, those should be going up anytime on Amazon. I usually check Blu-ray.com. I'm sure those will be coming up for pre-order soon.
And another one we didn't mention, because, it was the Monday surprise announcement, and that was the announcement of 1985's The Howling 2. Your sister is a werewolf?
Yes. I hope that means we'll get Howling 3, The Marsupials. Well, we technically have it, but that 3-pack was another kind of a Blu-ray botch, so maybe they'll go through the entire Howling catalog.
That'd be nice. Another little bit of news, we don't really know what it is yet, is Kino's been announcing some of the canon stuff, and I know this past week they announced Enter the Ninja, which not really horror genre, although, you know, with no Enter the Ninja, we wouldn't have Ninja 3.
True.
But they did announce that they will be announcing a new title from the Canon library tomorrow. So there's been lots of speculation. No one really knows what it is. They did have a deep horror catalog, and we kind of know the Canon stuff that's with Shout Factory already. I mean, the only one that's not, but I think it's a problematic one because Warner holds the rights, not MGM, and that's The Borrower. It's probably the only horror one left that I can think of off the top of my head.
Which I would hope we'd see at some point. That's definitely one I'd love to own on Blu-ray.
At this point, I'd be happy if Warner just put out a widescreen print of it on the archive collection, because I don't ever see them putting it out on Blu-ray.
Well, you never know. We got Death Spa on Blu-ray. Anything is possible.
Yeah, but see, but I always go to where the problem lies is who holds it. And with Warner, they're not giving any love to their back horror catalog.
Yeah.
And they're not, and they're not letting anyone else touch it. They're not leasing anything out, so which is the part. Same with Lionsgate, they don't let anything out either. So, MGM was the same way years ago, so maybe there'll be a turnaround, but as of now, we'll see. I don't see it just because of the archive collection, but oh well. That's all the release news I have. Like, that's everything.
Okay, well, I only have a couple brief bits, but one that I thought was pretty cool, Michael Keaton, who has experienced a bit of a comeback this past year with Birdman. I know he's one of the odds-on favorite to take Best Actor at the Oscars this year. And apparently he's in talks for the new film Kong, Skull Island. Deadline is reporting that Michael Keaton is finalizing a deal to join the cast of the film. Kong, King of Skull Island will be released in 3D and IMAX 3D by Universal Pictures on March 10th, 2017. And in the spirit of its worldwide blockbuster Godzilla, Legendary Pictures presents a bold new take on the mythos of another iconic beast with Kong Skull Island, which also stars Tom Hiddleston of the Avengers and Thor series. So that's potentially exciting, kind of riding the recent success of the kaiju and giant monster flicks out there. I look forward to that one. Michael Keaton, a great actor. I don't know why he I don't want to say he dropped off the face of the earth, but for a while it just seemed like some of the movies he was doing were, just, I don't know, not on anybody's radar for some reason. So, great actor, and I'm glad to see him back.
I agree, and I think he just, after he left the Batman franchise, he just picked a few bad ones in a row.
Yeah.
And, I'm glad he's ready to come back, too. Still, my favorite, that is Batman to me. But first movie I always think it was Johnny Dangerously, one of my all-time favorites. So I'm glad he is coming back.
Well, he was supposed to be Batman for the third film, and he turned it down. So he's also probably a guy that might have been at a point where what he was getting offered just wasn't that great, and he decided to just take some time off. I mean, he made his money, obviously, with those films, so, hey, more power to him. And, he did do RoboCop, the remake, slightly before, which some people would say wasn't very good, but...
And you know what? That is the only reason I watched that, because he was in it.
Did you like it?
That was the only reason I watched it. I liked him in it. That's about all I could say on that one. But also, that whole him walking away from the whole Batman thing worked so well in Birdman. Yeah. So. Yeah,
it worked out for him, and I think he's going to get the Oscar. I think I don't know. It didn't. Well, Comeback Story didn't work for Mickey Rourke, I guess, for the Oscar, but I think Keaton's going to get it. But yes, and our last bit of news before we get into the reviews here, Ryan Reynolds has a new film not that you should get too excited about Ryan Reynolds, but this particular movie, The Voices, looks particularly fun. There's a trailer out for it, and it's scheduled to be coming out on VOD and select theaters February 6th from Lionsgate. And this film is the synopsis. A genre-bending tale centers around Jerry Hickfang, a lovable but disturbed factory worker who yearns for attention from a woman in accounting. When the relationship takes a suddenly murderous turn, Jerry's evil talking cat and benevolent talking dog lead him down a fantastical path where he ultimately finds salvation. So, there's a trailer for this, The Voices, and it's kind of nice to see Ryan Reynolds taking a break from, the mainstream, Green Lantern stuff. He's had some pretty solid success in the horror genre with Buried and, to a lesser extent, Blade Trinity. It was probably the weakest of that franchise, but still pretty good movie. So, I don't know. I look forward to this. It's a pretty batshit premise, and it looks like it might be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, he was a few bad choices away from being Michael Keaton in the 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah, he as long as he stops making romantic comedies with Sandra Bullock, he can still make a comeback. He's not a bad actor, but we'll see. That's Todd. Unless I missed anything, that's all I've got for news. You got anything?
No,
okay,
but slow January news time.
Yeah, we'll see. February's pretty stacked with different things, so we will see. But anyways, our first movie for the evening, I don't know. I think we're going to kick this one off with the worst. And I know I'm spoiling my review, but Sledge, from director John B. Sovey II and Christian Hansen. This is a very small, micro-budget indie slasher, and the basic storyline, it jumps back and forth from this woman watching the film Sledge on television. It's movie within a movie where she's watching Astley, who is a vulgar, foul-mouthed puppet that introduces Sledge. And Sledge is how to put it? It's a very basic slasher setup with young people in the woods. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on the synopsis because I have a lot of complaining to do. Okay, well, this is another one. Actually, it seems to have some decent reviews out there. I'm not quite sure why. This is.
I'm not either.
Oh, good. I was like, I don't think there's any way Todd would have liked this, but I could be wrong because I'm not seeing it. This is another homage to the '80s, which I don't know. Maybe I'm getting tired of it now. Just come up with something new. Don't keep doing these '80s throwback things. But nothing works. I cannot fathom. It's not funny. The killer is just ridiculous. I mean, there's all these reviews about these great one-liners he has. Not at all. I mean, this is the type of movie that even the first movie I was in, it makes me feel better about it. There's zero suspense, no laughs. It's only like a 70-some minute movie, but it just feels like there's filler. I mean, you're just watching these pointless conversations, the editing, the camera work. There's a car ride where the camera half the time is focusing like on the back of people's heads. It's just everything that goes wrong with an small indie slasher went wrong with this one. The lighting, I felt like until they really got to that first morning scene, I didn't even get to know who these characters were because I couldn't fucking see them. There's teased sexual debauchery with no actual nudity, and God only knows this film needed some skin. And the cuts going back and forth to this girl watching. I mean, she was less interesting than the characters in this movie. They were jarring. They took you out of what very little action this film had. Nothing particularly interesting about the kills either. I mean, there was a lot of after-the-fact gore. I mean, if I were just fishing for a compliment, maybe I could come up with one kill that was sort of okay. There really is just nothing here to recommend it. There aren't even unintentional laughs. I mean, this is just bad, bland lead actor who played, I think Alex was his name. Every bit of humor falls flat. Even this little puppet thing, this show, stupid. Nothing interesting there. There are so many things you could have done with that. But Todd, this was a shit pickle as far as I'm concerned. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah, and the one thing you did leave out was the fact that it was, this whole with, I'm sure they thought they were being super clever with this whole with movie within a movie. She's watching the movie, like, oh, no one's going to figure it out. But it was telegraphed the moment you saw what was going on, that, he's going to show up and kill her in the end. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but if you watch this movie, you don't, realize that in the first 4 minutes, I don't know, you might be listening to the wrong show. The acting wasn't there. Like you said, the one-liners, I was like, and then the whole being self-referential of the horror genre got tiresome. And even I will give here's my one bit of I will give them props for something, because I was already groaning when the number 37 came up, and I thought they were just blatantly going to plagiarize Clerks, because they even went with the 38. But at least they gave it credit, and he's like, no, that's a Clerks reference. I was like, they're really gonna just rip that off and act like no one gets it. But the other character did call it out, so I was happy with that.
Well, see, and that's the thing with a low-budget movie. I mean, from what I can tell, this probably didn't cost more than a few $1,000s, if that. Just based on my experience making movies in that budget.
Mm-hmm. Those were some good tents, I'm just saying.
Yeah. But, the writing, there is no reason why you can't have some clever dialogue. I would not in a million years say that I was a good writer, but at the same time, I think I can at least come up with something amusing. There was just nothing here. I mean, I was literally watching this one, because I tend to be a little softer with movies that are shot for, under $5,000-ish, because I know there's a lot of shit that you have to deal with on those types of movies that, sometimes there's nothing you can do about. So, I mean, I've been in that position, so I do tend to be soft on these types of movies. So it says something that I can't find anything to recommend this. I don't know how this has good reviews. I really don't. But as we always say, though, if you like this movie and feel like you need to defend it, always go on our Facebook page at Flesh Wound Radio, because we like to hear from you. I did not get anything out of this, and it's not even a particularly original premise. We've seen this before. Yeah. It's not that clever, and this is probably maybe the first one since our Horror Society days. At least I can't think of something else that I've done this with. I've got to give this one 0 stars. I cannot even come up with any reason that you should watch this. It just fails as a slasher. It fails as a parody. There's just nothing I can say about it. So, yep, that's my rating. Todd, how about you? You feeling a little more generous?
I am. I actually have a 1 written down on this one. I can't disagree with you. I'm giving them one for finishing the project. How's that?
There you go. And hey, like I said, the first movie that I acted in, I didn't write it or produce it or anything, was pretty bad, almost as bad as this one, but at least it had a somewhat decent premise. So I have been there. It doesn't necessarily mean that these guys can't rebound and make something a little more worthwhile, but it's not this. Then there's a lot of good reviews, so I hate to break their record, but it's just not good.
Well, and that's the thing, because I get, if you're going to show this to your friends and people around you, oh yeah, it's good, it's great, whatever. Most of the time you're just going to get that. But even still, it's still an accomplishment showing your friends a finished film. I get that. But when it hits the mainstream, and you get the actual, the criticism, what you need to do to improve, because I think they probably have a decent film in them, because it's possible. I mean, better actors, a little bit more prep, better concept. But
yeah,
I think it's a disservice giving them, positive.
I don't know. This one for me, I cannot find one compliment, so I kind of have to be honest with my review. I just cannot stretch anything for this one.
And that's the thing, and that's more helpful than, oh no, this is great, just keep doing it. We want Sledge too.
Oh yeah.
But I would definitely, check out their, next feature. Hopefully it's improved, because we do like to support the indie filmmaker, which is why we try to review, them. So it kind of sucks sometimes when you got to, give them a 1 or a 0.
It is, but the funny thing, I mean, I'm in West Virginia. I mean, I guess the movies that I did, you could just as much say they were Maryland-based, but it's not a particularly great place to make movies, and we still manage. Number one, like I said, a movie like this, it really would have benefited from some nudity. I understand when you don't have much in the way of effects. I mean, we had I've dealt with amateur effects artists that did the best they could, and sometimes it's not so great, sometimes it's passable. I can almost give them a pass on that, but amazingly enough, we had because MILFs versus Zombies, for example, which some of you know, some of you don't know that I didn't have the best experience with that, but just making it, not that it's not possibly, I think, a pretty good movie, but we had a lot of nudity in that, and just a secret for some of you, you don't always have to pay for that. So it's strange as it sounds, you don't always have to pay for nudity. There are models out there, there are strippers, what have you, that will do nudity in your movies. And I only throw it out with a movie like Sledge because this isn't a deep thinking person's horror flick by any means. So, a lot of times those little exploitation elements can elevate it. I'm not saying if I saw a little nudity in this that it would have changed my review very much, but you know what? Maybe I would have given it a 1. I mean, it's something. And it helps, and like I said, you'd be very surprised. We never had to pay anybody for nudity in our movies, and we even had a somewhat notable porn star in the last one. So, it's something it's something for you guys to think about. It's not as hard as you think. I thought that was going to be something hard when I made movies, and there are a lot of hard things. That's not as difficult as you might imagine. So yes, Sledge, we don't give a recommendation to.
And one other thing, I mean, and if you're doing a throwback slasher, and you don't, nudity was a staple of the slasher, you're kind of missing the mark if you forget that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do softcore porn, but it still helps. And if you're making a movie for $2,000, $3,000, whatever the case may be. It might have been less on this one. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the very least, one advantage you have is you don't have to worry about it airing on the Sci-Fi Channel, so you've got to tone it down, or, you know, maybe in the case of WWE films, you're kind of a family company, so you can't make it that brutal. You know, Evil 2 as an example. Yeah, so I mean that's one advantage you have. You can be a little bit dirty and grimy, and you know, so just use your advantage.
And if we didn't sell you and if we didn't sell our listeners enough on this film, it is available for free on Amazon Prime Instant. So if you can't wait, you could pause us, go watch it, come back. But it is free. So hey, if you're curious, you've got Amazon Prime, as you know, I think most people tend to nowadays. You can check it out. I always say, for me, it helped, and I mean, I'm not making movies anymore. I don't know if I will again, but it did help to look at like some particularly bad ones, you know, like some of the really poor brain damage titles where they really had no money, and say, okay, well, I can definitely be better than this. You don't always have the means to make the next great American horror flick, and that's the truth. So there are some times where you just can't swing it unless your premise is just, oh my God, you know, because a few $1,000s, you know, it goes away fast. You know, just feeding a crew, you know, that alone eats up that kind of money. So yeah, check it out. Aspiring filmmakers, you know, I know we have several that listen to the show, and you know, it's one to maybe look at and say, okay, you know, I can kind of see why this one didn't work. So, but anyways, moving on to our next film, which is actually we're going into theatrical horror. I mean, actually more suspense, but No Good Deed from director Sam Miller. No Good Deed, not to be confused with the Samuel L. Jackson flick, because I think there's another one out there under this title. Follows a lonely mom played by Taraji P. Henson of Person of Interest fame, who invites a charming car accident victim into her home. Desperate for some attention, she doesn't realize she's hosting a sociopathic escaped con. In one terrifying night, her life completely changes. So, yeah. Todd, I'll let you kick this one off here. What did you think of this one? I went in, this was, you know, one Dan had thrown out there, and I didn't, you know, actually, I'll be honest, I didn't think of this one to even review, because it is definitely, you know, more of a, I thought of it more as a thriller than a horror film, but I mean, it is suspense, and that does, you know, it falls in our genre. Too. Yeah, that's true. I like this one. I there was enough twists and turns. It kind of felt like one of the, you know, early 90s when they had that whole wave of suspense, not really a slasher type films that were coming out. You know, Pacific Heights, another great Michael Keaton film. Hand That Rocks the Cradle, just that kind of that 90s era. It was kind of a throwback to those to me. And it was smarter than most of this stuff I see, you know, now, like, of that genre. Not that I'm, you know, an aficionado of the modern thriller. The acting was top notch. The story, the twists. I don't want to give away too many of any of the twists really, but it seemed like right when you were kind of getting what was going on in the story, it kind of would throw a new element in or twist an element. And I really liked that aspect of it.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. It's one. Number one, I think Idris Elba, who a lot of people will know from Pacific Rim. I think he's actually a great actor, somebody that's kind of up and coming, British actor. I think he really elevated this one because I'm kind of with you. I mean, I wouldn't say I loved this, but it did end up being a little bit above average as a thriller, and I think Elba and Taraji Henson played a part in doing that. It almost sounds like a backhanded compliment, but this is almost one, if you have a girlfriend or wife who's not really into the really extreme hardcore horror stuff, gore, what have you, it's a safe one to watch with her, and it still manages to be somewhat entertaining. I believe this is PG-13. I'm not positive. Actually,
it is.
It is? Okay, I thought so.
And it's funny you mention that because I was thinking the same thing about, oh, this is a good one I can tell my wife, it's not, it's tame enough, you'll enjoy it. That it's not too extreme. It's definitely one that you could get away with for somebody who's not big into the genre. It does, walk that line.
Yeah, it is. It's, and I think these movies are okay. I mean, this is one probably a lot of horror fans might look at and just say, oh, it's watered down Hollywood horror. And I mean, that's true, I suppose, to a degree, but it's made, I think, for a very specific audience, and it's made pretty well. I mean, like I said, it is the performances, they elevate it. There is some twists to be had here. It's PG-13, but it makes the best out of the PG-13 rating. There's a few pretty, not gory, but pretty violent kills. There's a shovel to the face, and Idris Elba is a very, very large physical threat that manages to be quite menacing. You've seen most of this before to a degree. I mean, I wouldn't say I love this film. I don't think I'll sit down and watch it again anytime soon. You'll probably be perfectly content with a Redbox rental, should you want to see this. But I really don't have anything bad to say about it. As a thriller, a home invasion type thriller, it works. It was just a fairly breezy movie. It was over, before I really knew it. And any female listeners, it might be a good one for girls' night. Not to say that you have to be a lady to enjoy it, but it was a pretty well made flick. And for me,
I agree.
I give this one 3 stars. Like I said, it's if you're a more extreme horror fan and do tend to hate a lot of Hollywood stuff, you may not like it. But again, it really wasn't made for you, so I can't really punish the film for that. It's 3 stars. I enjoyed it, and Todd, what do you say?
I'm a little bit higher on you, and a little bit higher than you. I give it a 3.5. Not a huge difference. I mean, we're right in the same range. But I agree. If you're coming in judging this hardcore horror, it's not Dawn of the Dead, you're going to probably give it a real low rating. But for an old school thriller, I mean, it's up there. And if honestly, if I was just going like that for that genre, I'd probably even give it a 4. But for the horror world, it's just a 3.5. I'd say I'm not going to probably ever watch it again unless the wife wants to watch it. But it's definitely punctual hit. It's a well-made film. There's acting is on par. I'd say Redbox it, Netflix it, wait for it to pop up on one of the pay channels or something. But it's not one to avoid.
And guys, it beats watching Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood with your girlfriend. So you'll get through this one much better, I think. So there you go. That's No Good Deed. That just came out this past Tuesday, and you can get that anywhere. So yes, I have my next review for you guys, which is actually our only solo review for tonight. So you'll get everybody's opinion on most of these movies. And this film is Morris County from writer-director Matthew Garrett. This is a new release in the last a few weeks, I believe, from Unearthed Films, and it follows actually a very long synopsis. I'm just trying to skip through this one for you. In the first story follows Darcy. It's an anthology. The first story follows Darcy Miller, who plays Ellie, a damaged teenage girl harboring a terrible secret. Through the course of one traumatic day, we learn what led this innocent girl down a path of self-destruction from which there is no return. In The Family Reuben, an upper middle-class Jewish family struggles to keep up appearances as their seemingly perfect life begins to crack at the seams. Albie Selznick leads an ensemble cast in this shocking and heartbreaking take on the destruction of the modern American family. And finally, the third story, elderly Iris is laid off in Elmer and Iris, forcing her to join her curmudgeonly husband in early retirement. When Elmer suddenly dies, Iris decides to keep his decaying body around out of fear of living and dying alone. So yes, I mean, basically, this is an anthology horror flick. It all centers around this town of Morris County. That's the only real connection to the stories. There's no wrap around or anything. It's three stories, and there really is no connection except they're all in Morris County. So I really tend to enjoy realistic horror. The horror of true life. Stuff that is pretty plausible up to a point. Red, White, and Blue is a film that I always throw out a lot as one I like. Really kind of drama-based horror. And that's kind of what this is. It's very realistic stories. Keeping the body around, maybe not that realistic, but, it happens. And it really works. The acting is phenomenal. That's one thing with this particular film. Another one probably didn't have a whole lot of money. They had more than Sledge. I'm not suggesting this is a micro-budget film, but still relatively low budget. The first story really kind of focuses on... I don't want to give too much away, but this girl really comes from a typically religious family. Kind of all of the pressures that she has to deal with in her life with that, and it really opens up on her as a very broken young girl, from offering sexual favors to the clerks at a convenience store to get some whiskey, and you kind of can tell in this story that something has happened to her, and obviously they reveal what that is. As I said, as far as realistic dramatic horror, it's all fairly plausible. A great performance by Darcy Miller in that one, and I liked it. I liked that one quite a bit. The second one, The Family Reuben, another fantastic story, almost too real. I mean, it's just something you would see in the headlines of this family. It's revealed that the wife is cheating on Noah, the husband, and he's obviously a guy that's kind of on a bit of a breakdown. We all see people like that every day. You don't really quite know why. There's certain twists that happen throughout the film. And at the same time, in the midst of him dealing with his shit and the mother, off with this other guy, the son is enjoying some psychotic behavior, hurting animals and whatnot. This one was really, really good. I mean, the acting was fantastic. Like I said, there are several little twists as this goes on. And finally, the third story, all three of them are good. Elmer and Iris. This was really a very depressing depressing story, just about the, getting old. I mean, we'll all be there at some point. It's very fantastic performance again by the lead actress in this, and I didn't write her name down, but I do want to throw it out there. She was just fantastic. Kind of almost, necromantic in a retirement home, not literally, but it's kind of how it felt. There's some particularly gross issues with the corpse that she leaves around of her husband. But as gross as it is, it was just another great bit of acting. It's very rare with an indie anthology flick to see it just this well acted. There is not one moment of, that actor isn't that great, or that must have been a friend of the director or something. This is stellar. Anybody in this I would hire for a $10 million movie. Again, it is very realistic, dramatic horror. It's slow burn. It's really not particularly, it's not the gore that really drives this film, although the effects that are there are very good. So being that it's coming from unearthed, don't think it's like a huge bloodbath. It's not. But having said that, it definitely stands out. It's been completed since like 2009, so took them a while to get distribution. I'm glad they did. And I highly recommend it to fans of realistic horror. I mean, as far as indie movies go, and again, this is not for everyone. There are some of you out there that will hate this. There's, like I said, there's no zombies. There's no slasher elements. It is realistic, depressing horror. So keep that in mind. But I give it 4.5 stars. I mean, there's really nothing much that I can say bad about this one, except that it's not going to be for everybody. So check it out. If you're an indie horror fan, I think they did a very admirable job with this one. So there you go. We love indie horror here at Flesh Wound Radio, and we hate to piss on it. So hopefully this makes up for the one we did piss on tonight. So yes, I guess we're going to take our brief 2-minute music break, right, Todd?
Yes, it sounds like I picked the wrong one to miss this week.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. Like I said, it's slow, it's depressing. It's not one that everybody's going to like, but nonetheless, it's pretty fantastic. So I really didn't find anything to complain about. I only wish that I could get the level of acting in this one. I mean, my God, it was just really good. But yeah. So, Todd, you have a musical treat for us tonight. I don't even know what it is. So
yes, it was a last-minute one because I almost forgot to load us up a musical treat. So we're going back to the Trauma Vault one more time. Next week I'll be sure to pick out something non-trauma. This is our second trauma song of our new run, so I'll have to mix it up. We can't always have a tribute to a fallen actor. So
hey,
all right,
if all else fails, the vinyls I touch myself will do.
All right. Is that a request? Well.
Why?
All right, let's just jump into it.
He's a hideous, easy fall monster hero, superhuman size and strength, crusader of good, enemy of evil. With his mighty might, he'll never stop. Truth and justice are his calling card. He's gonna fight crime across the line. Big business thinks he's gonna rip you apart. Toxic solution is right at hand. Toxic Avenger. Toxic Avenger.
Are we back, Todd?
Yes, we are back. I was just unmuting myself. Sorry. We are back.
We are back in action. So, yeah, I have to confess I don't even know what you played because I had to use the restroom. So, but I have no doubt it was awesome.
It was the scene from Toxic Avenger. The song basically tells you the plot of the movie. I want to say it was 2. Maybe it's 3.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Plays over the opening credits.
Hey, we still didn't even make it through all the Poultrygeist stuff, so, a little more promo. Not a bad
I almost threw it on, but I figured our last one was from Poultrygeist. I was like, I'll break it up. maybe we'll go to the full moon catalog next week. We'll see.
There you go. There's plenty of great stuff there. So yes, well, we're getting back into our reviews for the evening. And yeah, I guess we will tackle The Guest next. The Guest is a new film from director Adam Wingard, and it follows recently discharged from the Army David Collins unexpectedly shows up on the Petersons' doorstep, claiming to be their late son's best friend. Welcomed into their home, the well-mannered stranger becomes part of the family until a shocking wave of violence raises daughter Anna's suspicions that the mysterious ex-soldier is not quite what he seems. So, yeah, actually, this is the last one I watched. I just watched it. Todd, what did you think of this one?
Well, I'm curious where we're going on this one, but I loved it. It was very old school action, but I'm not saying it like Expendables, but it had very much had a Terminator feel to it in some parts. And it wasn't your typical modern action film. I loved this movie. There was little homages to other films. Tell me you spotted the Halloween 3 homage. That's the only thing I have for note-wise I had to ask you. Okay. You do. I was marking up big time for that.
Yeah, I figured you would be.
Because I'm a huge Halloween 3 fan. And I don't know if that upped my rating or not. But no, I love the movie. I'm not familiar with the leads. I believe he's from Downton Abbey. not watching that one off on when we're on off hours.
You're not watching Downton Abbey. Yeah, I was gonna say it's Downton Abbey.
Oh,
so
see,
I don't think it's proper English entertainment, Todd.
In between Doctor Who reruns, right?
Yeah, I do watch Doctor Who. I do not watch Downton Abbey.
Okay, I didn't. They come on after you may got hooked accidentally. You know, they're all BBC, maybe. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, how much do we want to give away about the, I guess, well, it's alluded to, I guess. I'll just go like this. There's more to the ex-soldier than you're initially led on to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think that's a given. And... yeah, I mean, this one's kind of a genre bender in a way.
Yeah.
Actually similar to another film we're going to review tonight, which was kind of interesting. It's kind of, number one, it's got a fantastic score, so if you're into very fantastic 80s score, it's loaded with some really great underrated actors, some of which who have very small roles. But Leyland Orser plays the dad. He's probably one of the more underrated actors of the last 20 years or so. Ethan Embry shows up, Joel Moore, quite a few people in this one. And it kind of manages to, it's kind of an homage to the 80s, but not like overly so. I mean, it's not one of those ones that I think you'll watch and just say, like, oh, I watched this back in the 80s, or an action movie I watched in the 90s. It kind of did its own thing, and I've been really kind of the mindset lately that if you keep going back to the past totally, putting, grindhouse scratches on your movie and all that stuff, you can never really claim an identity for this decade, the 2010s. I mean, this is one that I think really did it right. I mean, the production values obviously are fantastic. Great soundtrack, like I said. Old school action, squibs, shootouts, really cool. And I think go ahead, Todd.
I was just going to say, I'd go so far to say a Carpenter-esque soundtrack.
Absolutely, yes. And I think a star-making performance from Dan Stevens. I mean, he's kind of got that clean-cut, all-American Hollywood star look to him, but he can act. And, I mean, he was actually quite intimidating, which is hard to do when you kind of have that look. I found, like, the latest, Twilight kid trying to make an action movie doesn't work for me, but this guy, hey, not that he's a Twilight kid, but he has that kind of look, and he still managed to be a very scary son of a bitch. I mean, he's really tough. He's likable at times, very scary other times. I mean, it was just a really fantastic performance by him, and it has. I mean, it's a tough movie to classify. I mean, it's kind of an action flick, kind of a dark comedy at times. There's some hilarious moments where he beats the shit out of these bullies that are picking on the kid, the family, the little brother of the fallen soldier, where he threatens the principal of the school. I mean, there's a lot of really cool moments that were quite funny.
I loved the bar scene. Made me want to start ordering fireballs.
Yeah. Yes. That sounded pretty brutal. I'm not a big drinker, but I think I'll have to pass on that one. That one, I think I might be hunched over the bar just keeping.
But I see. But you see why he ordered it. Perfect. I was like, wow, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that those kids. I don't know that they would have been back in school anytime soon, though, after that beating that he threw them in the bar. But it's a very cool movie. I liked it a lot. Another one that kind of creeped up on me. I remember hearing something about it a while back, but then I kind of forgot about it, and then I'm like, oh shit, Wingard's new film's here, and I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a great flick. I mean, it successfully does a whole bunch of different things, and it manages to do it surprisingly well. A lot of this formula doesn't always work out for a lot of movies, but it did for this one. And and Todd, what do you give this one?
I'm giving. I think it'll be my first 5 of the new show. I loved it.
Oh, okay.
And one thing you had mentioned that it's hard to do the throwback and do it right. This is the second time Adam Wingard has done it, because I think he did the throwback with Your Next too. Had that throwback vibe also.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people that have seen this one, I've noticed several reviews saying that they actually enjoyed it even more. For what that's worth.
I did too, actually. But I wasn't waiting for like 3 years to see this like Your Next or anything.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm kind of pretty close to you on this one. It's I don't know if I go quite as far to say it's absolutely perfect, so I'm giving it a 4.5, but it's definitely a must-see. I mean, maybe kind of similar to Your Next. I mean, it's not quite perfect. There's a couple little things, but nonetheless, it's a pretty damn amazing flick. Maybe an early contender as far as, Best Actor. Not for the Oscars, but, at the end of the year, we'll probably do a Best 2015. Definitely one you'll want to check out. Again, and it kind of falls into the horror genre at the same time, just as crazy as it is. I mean, you could almost argue it goes into slasher mode a little bit towards the end, so it kind of has that element too, and that's certainly why we feel it's appropriate to review it. The big fun house battle at the end and everything.
No, I'm trying to think. Was he one of the robots from Halloween 3 who escaped and they trained? No, I'm just
it's possible.
That's
it's possible.
No.
Who knows? But this one caught me off guard, and you can actually get the Blu-ray at Walmart.
Nice.
Which is sometimes a crapshoot at Walmart. So you can get the Blu-ray there. I can't remember how much I paid for it. Probably because it was just worth whatever I paid for it. It seems to be everywhere. At Best Buy, obviously, will have it. So that's the guest. Definitely gets our recommendation. Like I said, it's a pretty good night, despite maybe one turd in the punch bowl. I think it was a pretty solid night so far. But yes, moving on. Couple more highly anticipated movies that we have for you guys tonight. The next one, I guess we will do Horns. Horns is the latest film from Alexandre Aja, and it's a supernatural thriller driven by fantasy, mystery, and romance. Horns follows L.G. Parrish, played by Daniel Radcliffe, the number one suspect for the murder of his girlfriend Marin. Hungover from a night of hard drinking, LG wakes up one morning to find horns growing from his head and soon realizes their power drives people to confess their sins and give in to their most selfish and unspeakable impulses. An effective tool in his quest to discover what happened to his girlfriend and exact revenge on her killer, based on the best-selling novel by Joe Hill. So this is one I was very interested in seeing. Aja, as far as I'm concerned, has a very good track record, and I think he tries to do different things. I mean, of course, you had High Tension, Hills Have Eyes remake, which I've always maintained, and sometimes I get heat for it, is better than the original. And then, kind of maybe had the reputation for the more sadistic gore guy, managed to take the gore stuff to more comedic lengths with Piranha 3D. I just really like the guy's stuff. And, this is no exception. I found Daniel Radcliffe, quite frankly, to be quite a very good actor. He has, I mean, if you think about it, Harry Potter, in the literary world, the film world, that guy is always going to be Harry Potter. It's a tough thing to shed, and I think this is his star maker. Maybe much like Christian Bale for American Psycho, because of course he was a child star. Yep. I think this is the one that could, if enough people see it, could get him to shed the Harry Potter role. I thought he was very good in A Woman in Black, which I enjoyed quite a bit as well, but I still kept getting that, like, Harry Potter. He's not.
It's the accent.
Too young.
He's
too young. He's not really too young at this point, but I still feel like I'm watching fucking Harry Potter. He can't have a wife and kids. He's fucking Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I think he gets over that here. This is another one, again, kind of the term of the day, kind of a genre bender, because you get to see, I mean, this is a dark comedy. It's a supernatural romance. It's a straight up horror flick at times. I mean, it's definitely an R-rated movie. It does everything, and it for me it worked very well. There's all these kind of elements. I mean, at times I just was thinking, well, at some point this isn't going to work, but it all came together really well. I mean, it's got the whodunit mystery angle going for it. It's based on a great book. Joe Hill is actually Stephen King's son, who is getting a pretty solid following. Actually, some people prefer him over his father, strangely enough. And I don't want to give away anything that would give you any kind of spoilers, but some of the comedic moments where he has those reporters beat the shit out of each other for the or where he's having like the mother confess what she wants to do to her kid who's screaming in the doctor's office. There are moments that he's very non Harry Potter. There's some pretty nasty, gross. Not. I don't want to say gross, but just more adult humor moments with him. Yet it can still segue into the sort of tragic romance angle and back, and it works. But Todd, what did you think? I really liked this one. I wasn't expecting this type of flick. I was expecting more of a romantic kind of horror flick.
I absolutely loved it, and you could have mentioned it was unexpected because it was playing on DirecTV a few weeks ago. Same with The Guest I noticed was also up. And I kind of wish I would have ordered them right when they popped up because I really love both of these films. But from the little TV spot for horns, I just gathered that, okay, he grew horns. People couldn't really see him, but it made people just say and do crazy shit. That's the only thing I really got. I didn't really get that romantic aspect from the TV spot, so that's kind of what I went in expecting. What I got was that was part of it, but it was a lot more to it. I mean, because you mentioned all the other things, but then, I mean, you have, like, the really heartbreaking stuff with him and his mother when she's telling him, oh, you basically, well, I'm not giving too much
really
away.
Fucked up stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt bad for the guy. They did a good job.
Yeah, and, and another compliment I want to say, and it might be a little overlooked thing, but I thought the kid that they picked to play the young version of himself worked, which I think is especially hard since people immediately know what young Radcliffe looks like or should look like because of Harry Potter. So I saw, that it worked. It didn't, take me out, hey, that's not little Harry Potter. Probably helps I've only seen the first two Harry Potter movies. I don't like to watch, stack the rest of them. So yeah, I mean, and you know, it was nice. It's always nice seeing Heather Graham pop up in something. She's one who really hasn't aged much since Boogie Nights. I mean, you can tell a little age difference between License to Drive and Boogie Nights, and I'm not implying that's one that's overly gone over the top on cosmetic surgery. So I mean, she still looks pretty much the same she did, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, she does. She does, actually. I mean, she has a very small role here, but it was a very effective small role. Particularly her confession moment. This is another one. I mean, this movie really could have come out as a mess because they are trying to do so much. I mean, it's hard to go from that kind of humor and at the same time, which again, that's just part of the movie. It manages to be. There's even almost a sort of almost kind of brief but Stand By Me. I was thinking of that, like some of the flashbacks of these kids in a strange way. It manages to make all of that work, and my God, I mean, just some of the stuff he goes through, that little bit with the parents, confessing some of their thoughts to him. It does it all. I mean, it goes from genre to genre, and it did it very well. It's rare. I mean, 2 movies tonight that we can say that about. And I will throw out Juno Temple naked in this one.
Yes.
Looks great. So we get a little bit of nudity there too, and this one didn't even have to have it. I would have been okay if I didn't see boobs in this one because it's that good. It's another one. I don't quite know if it's for everybody, but if you like interesting films that are unlike anything else you've seen, which is very rare. Again, it's very rare nowadays that we can say that. I give this one a high recommendation, and I give it a 5. I think this one was fantastic, and
I was going to talk you into one of this for one reason.
Harry Potter. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said I probably would have talked you into it on one reason, but I agree it's a 5. I was going to say, if the problem is, I don't think there's ever going to be a movie that we give a 5 that is going to be for everyone, simply because what's for everyone is something that's going to get a lower rating. You know what I mean?
That is true. Yeah.
It's going to take something
for everyone.
Yeah, there you go. It's going to take something different, and in this case, something weird, but good weird, to get both of us to throw the 5 out. And I think that's what makes it so special. I mean, the last thing I can think, other than today, I gave a 5 was last year's Maniac, produced by Aja, we should mention. And that's definitely not for everybody, but I absolutely loved it. And I can't think of anything, for everybody that would be worthy of a 5. And not that I'm saying that, the Avengers can't get a 5-star rating, but it probably was from us.
Well, with the lead actor that's in this one, I could see a lot of, maybe mothers picking it up for kids or something, and not maybe having the best reaction, although it's R-rated, it's there on the back, but still.
Does it mention for RP? It gets. See, that's the one thing, because when I saw that, I was like, I think I have to watch this first, because I told my wife I think she'll love it, but and I think that wasn't like Last House on the Left or Devil's Rejects bad, so that one little scene.
No, I guess we always throw that out there. There is a rape scene, but it's not particularly graphic or anything. But it is there. But it's a 5. I check it out. I'm as anybody who's listened to my reviews, if it's different, I always take that into consideration, and this is very different and very, very good. So that's Horns. Moving on to our last film for the evening, might actually be done a little bit earlier tonight. And that film is Rec or Record. I don't know. It just feels right to say Rec. I do know it's Record, but I don't know.
I know. I would say Record 4 in this case.
We can say Record 4. Record 4 Apocalypse from director Yam Balaganero. Close enough. And this is the fourth film in the sort of legendary, trend-setting Spanish horror franchise. And it picks up where Rec 2 left off, with reporter Angela Vidal reprising her role from Rec 1 and 2. She's rescued from the building and then taken to an oil tanker for further examination. And needless to say, it ain't over. So Todd, what did you think of this one? I assume you're probably a fan of the franchise overall.
I am, and I want to throw out, because you did say starts from the second. It doesn't ignore the third. I want to throw that out right now. It seems like because we actually have a survivor from the third. But that was a second outbreak running parallel with the events of the first two, and so I just want to get that part out there because I know some people were, wondering about that aspect of it. So Record 3 is not ignored, because I love Record 3. I don't know about you. I'd like to get title series,
but I loved it too. Yeah.
And
standalone, I thought it was a great movie.
And it kind of got us ready, and it took me. I was like, oh, wait a minute, we're not really found footage in this one.
No.
I'm
kind of glad.
I was too, but I mean, they definitely. In the third one, they kind of prepped us because they did half and half, and I love the way they did it in the third one. So I guess I kind of got used to just being filmed versus that, because, I mean, we had the little bit at the beginning of Record 4 that is, the found footage from the tail end of 2, or, from the time of 2. And then we just jump into a film. And I at this stage in the game, they don't need the found footage stuff. At this point for them, it would be gimmicky. I like this one. Definitely, especially for this story. I think it was a bit bigger from the first two, kind of even bigger than the third one. Do we mention we're on a boat?
Yes, oil tanker. Yeah.
Okay, you did say that. It's funny because sometimes I revisit the series, and I didn't do that with this one, and now I kind of want to revisit the series because it is, I don't want to. It's almost kind of like the Evil Dead franchises in a lot of ways, because the movies, I mean, the first two kind of acting as one, but I mean they're all kind of different, which a lot of times in the horror genre we get a lot of the same, just new installments. I think this franchise is kind of different. Like the first two are pretty similar, maybe the third one and the fourth one. But you still tell a really big story. And if we're led to believe this is the final installment, I'm really happy the way we ended everything up. It's almost like the Record series of the Titanic. It seems in some parts.
Yeah, and I should throw out the demon monkeys were really fucking cool. I would have been okay if the entire movie were those fucking monkeys on the ship. They were very creepy, particularly that first scene, just that fucking thing was just on the wall. I felt like maybe the film could have been a little scarier. But then again, at this point, you kind of know what's going on. I'm glad it wasn't found footage, because found footage can do a lot for you in some ways, but after a while, it sort of becomes, a little bit limiting. So I'm kind of glad they didn't just try and, essentially remake the first one on a boat or something. There's some great gore moments in this. Very likable characters. I'm very glad to see I guess we can say the Spanish Ripley back in this one, and she kind of gets to kind of fill that role, particularly towards the end of the movie. It takes a little while for the shit to straight out hit the fan, but then the last part of this was just sort of wall to wall action, some great gore. There's a sort of propeller that comes into play at one point. Definitely will satisfy the gore hounds out there. Manages some good suspense. Like I said, it could have been a little scarier. I've been on boats before. There's a few things that I could have thought that they might have utilized, some scary set pieces and what have you. But overall, I mean, it's a great send-off. If this is the last one, which apparently they say it is, it doesn't necessarily have to be at the same time, but we'll see. And I'm glad to see some love for Record 3, Todd. I actually really enjoyed that one. Very different tone, but I thought that was a great movie.
It's funny because after I finished off the series, I had to go and order, because I have the DVD, but there's a Canadian Blu-ray, and I jumped on that. I was like, I want to,
Yeah, I have them all on Blu-ray. They're all region-free. Rec 1 and 2, I have that double pack. Is that a British release or Canadian? I don't remember now. Oh, okay, I have that. Mm-hmm.
I got to grab that one, too, because that one, it was out of stock, so I had to just grab the third one for now. But I know this is, I'll just say it. Chris has been asking, does the first one have English audio on it? Because he's only ever, he won't watch the ones that, or he hasn't watched the ones that have subtitles.
I did. Well, I watched it with subtitles, so I'm trying to remember.
Okay, no, I was just curious because I don't think any of the Blu-rays do. I was just curious. You can check off here and let me know.
Yeah, I know. It's a valid question. Let me look here. No, I don't believe it has the English audio. In fact, it does not. It does not.
Some he's not alone. There's, a segment who's not going to watch a movie that's subtitled. And I don't know if the one on, I don't know which, did you watch it on DirecTV or did you watch it on Amazon?
I watched it on Amazon, subtitled.
Okay, did it have an option? Oh, no, I'm sorry. You watched the same one as me. Because I saw it on DirecTV also, and it didn't mention, in Spanish, subtitled in English, and DirecTV normally is good about that. So I'm wondering if Magnet's going to release it in English also, which would be the first one since the fourth one, which would be kind of weird, but whatever. I'm fine either way.
I almost wonder sometimes if they have any kind of, option to say I do not want, in the contract, I do not want this released dubbed. I don't know if that's often the case, but...
After that first dub job, maybe that's why they don't.
Yeah, even if you're not particularly thrilled with subtitles, this isn't one that should grate you too much.
They're not dialogue-heavy films. I think the third is probably, maybe the fourth is probably the most dialogue-heavy, but they're still not that dialogue-heavy.
Yeah, no, they're not. There's nothing where it's like you're feeling like, you're just doing nothing but reading. It's not a, Shakespearean play adaptation or anything. So, yeah, no, I didn't have any problems with it, the subtitles. And, yeah, I think it was a hell of a send-off. Like I said, I guess maybe not the most clear criticism. It could have been a little more scary for me. But other than that, I thought it was pretty fantastic. And I give this one 4.5. I think it was a great send-off. Not perfect, but still nonetheless a great send-off if it is the last one. And the production values are great. Like I said, this doesn't feel like something that's just going direct to VOD or anything. The production values are fantastic. Actors are all fantastic. They did a great job.
I agree. I give this one a 4, just a little off on this one. I guess we're just a little off today. I loved it too. Would have been interesting to see if Sony would have, kept doing the Quarantine series and actually followed the storylines. Versus Quarantine 2. But because I actually I don't think we ever talked about it. I actually liked the U.S. take on the Record series also on Quarantine. I still preferred the Spanish one. It's kind of glazed over some of the elements, but I thought it was a good, American version of, an import film. But it would be interesting to see if, how it would have went on.
I don't know at this point. I mean, I don't know if there's too much juice left in a Quarantine direct DVD franchise, but I know a lot of people that really enjoyed the first Quarantine and are not even aware of Record, so it's possible. I mean, they did how many? I mean, I know they did a couple sequels to Pulse, which I don't think made any real noise from what I recall. So it's certainly possible that they could revisit Quarantine. It hasn't been that long. What's it been, a couple of years since the sequel?
Yeah, but Weinstein's were really sequel-happy back then. I mean, thank God we got Feast 2 and 3. But Sony kind of does a lot of one-and-dones, and they randomly do them. I mean, we got Road, out of nowhere. I mean, how many wild things do we have at this point?
That pretty much became a cinematic. Like, let's make it seem like more than it is.
Yeah, I guess we know which one's the milk, and I don't think 2 made much noise because it was okay. I mean, it wasn't anything. It was a far cry from the original, or from the first one, I should say. Even.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we can kind of. I don't know. We can speculate on that one. I would say probably not, although I can see them doing, an economical version of Record 3 or Record 4. I mean, it's not something, that I think they necessarily have to spend a ton of money on.
No.
Maybe drop the demonic thing. I know that's a lot of that. I think that's probably why Record 3 never got the respect it truly deserved. I don't think people really liked that explanation.
Well, it's funny because I talked to a lot of people about this when I'm at wrestling, and they really enjoy the third one. And
I love the third one, but that seems to be why for some people.
And I've had it compared to the Army of Darkness of the franchise.
Yeah, that's a good comparison, I think. A lot of times you start to lose steam when you're getting into, so a lot of times the first sequel, but, by the third one sometimes, a little bit of the magic's gone. I didn't mind that they made it different. I think and I'm a huge fan. I actually, truthfully, and I'm not saying by any means that it's the best of the series, but I probably will rewatch that one more than any of the others. Just personally, I don't know why. It's just a very entertaining movie to pop in for a good time. But overall, I'd say an interesting mix of movies tonight that we had. We had the really bad, the really bad and mostly really good. I mean, kind of one, more average one in there. So we kind of gave it all to you tonight.
Yeah. I think it works the other way because I started off with the good stuff and ended with the bad. Well, the one bad. I did it in pretty much the opposite order.
You squeezed Sledge in tonight then.
Yes, I did. I watched everything else on the weekend.
Okay, yeah. So, well, at least you had a good weekend then.
I did. That's probably part of the reason because as the quality kind of, I won't say dip, but I was like, okay, this is a 5. I love this one. This is a 5. Okay, this is a 4. This is a 4.5. So I better just quit while I'm ahead and take a minute. And I'm glad I did because it would have killed my momentum.
Yes. But like I said, that one was free, and I don't know. Have you ever? I mean, I know you haven't been doing reviews quite as long, but have you ever had somebody contact you like pissed off about a review you did? Somebody actually from the film, I should say.
No, not yet. I'm looking forward to my first one because I'll just ignore it. No, I don't even know.
Melissa and I had that a couple of years ago, a few years ago, I don't know when it was, but and what was funny, it wasn't even a completely negative review, and it's actually a guy that's, you know, could actually be going on to pretty big things soon. And God, he sent the nastiest email to us. Just, that bitch doesn't know what she's talking about, and it was just like really, really ugly. And I was like, oh boy. I actually, to the point where I actually made fun of him on air, which I don't normally do, but I think I read his rant, and I was just like, my God. You know, but, you know, reviews are helpful. You know, like I said, I've been there when things aren't going right on a movie, so I understand, and, you know, get them next time. So, yeah, we're pretty much out of time here. I know next week we're doing Last Showing, which is a Robert Englund flick that kind of came out of nowhere. It wasn't really on a lot of release calendars. It just popped up at Walmart, and I'm like, oh, holy crap. I knew he had a few different horror flicks that were awaiting release. In fact, next month, Fear Clinic, the feature film adaptation of the FearNet show, I believe it was, also coming out with him. So we'll have that next week. I know we have Jezebel, Homecoming, and some other to-be-announced titles.
Well, I'll say we'll just go with hopefully, if Amazon gets in, we'll have Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers also up for you too.
Yes, that supposedly was supposed to come out. You know, I kind of figured we'd be doing that one this week, but it just never popped up. So, yeah, hopefully we'll have that for you. And again, if you haven't listened to the last couple shows, that is an autographed, signature edition, and I don't know. I'm kind of curious what the price point will be on it.
$19.99, which I should have said at the top of the show. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. You know, autographed Fred Olin Ray. That's worth it.
Yeah, I was expecting the full moon $25 out the gate. So I'm happy with $19.99.
Yeah, I can live with that. Yeah. So definitely pick that one up. And yeah,
I'm sure
I guess we're pretty much about done here. Do you have anything to add, Todd?
Other than make sure to listen to Horror Society Radio for on Tuesdays.
Calling
I'm sorry.
hours.
Thank you, calling hours. That's what I'm trying to think of. On Tuesday. I think that's it. We don't have anything left, I think. I think we blew through the reviews this week. I mean, normally we're trying to hurry up, but I mean, it's nice when we have something, we don't have to, other than one, to kind of pick apart.
Yes. I mean, we got a bit of an ass-raping review for you guys this week. It's, you have to review the bad ones so you can avoid it.
No, everyone listening must go watch the Sledge now. Tell us if we were accurate. Tell us if we were completely, and honestly, if we are completely off base and we missed something, because it's getting positive reviews. Someone has to, be able to explain what we missed.
Strangely positive reviews. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But yeah, no, hey, yeah, we could be completely off base. So if you love that film, get on our Facebook page and tell us why. So yeah, I guess Todd, you can hit the outro, and we will see you guys next week.
All righty, and where's our outro? Good night. I'm sorry. And it still doesn't want to play. Okay. Well, we didn't mention it at the top of the show. There was some blog talk.
Blog talk, yes, malfunction, which first of the year. So, hey, fuck it. Play some song. I don't know. Maybe.
All right, we got the outro. We don't, but we got the outro from last week. So there you go. Good night.
Subway restaurants invite you to make every day different with the sub of the day. Every day, it's a different foot-long sub for just $6. Try the sweet onion chicken teriyaki on Monday, the oven-roasted chicken on Tuesday, turkey breast on Wednesday, and many more. Prepared on your choice of freshly baked bread with any veggies you want. It's a different foot-long sub of the day each day for just $6. Only at Subway restaurants. Participation may vary. Additional charges for extras and deluxe, plus tax where applicable. May not be combined with other offers, coupons, or discount cards.